What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm bringing you a New York Giants roster update for the Giants as they continue to get ready for their game this Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings in their first playoff game since 2016. The New York Giants made a couple of moves today. A couple of roster moves right now. So, the Giants have officially added veteran wide receiver, James Washington, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as formerly of the Dallas Cowboys, who they signed earlier on this year, to a deal on the practice squad, as well as the New York Giants have signed guard Solomon Kindley to the reserve future contract. So this is just getting them ready for the offseason. So Giants have added a couple of players to this offseason. Now, James Washington was signed by the Dallas Cowboys this offseason, but he dealt with a Liz Frank injury during training camp, and that's the reason why he pretty much didn't play at all for most of the season. I mean, James Washington didn't even log any snaps at all with the Dallas Cowboys. He did play in 2 games overall, and he only got a target in those 2 games due to injury. So James Washington, he's pretty much been a no-show this year because of the fact he's been injured the entire time. But the 5'11", 213-pound wide receiver, who was drafted all the way back in 2018 by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the second round. The one thing that James Washington has, coming out of Oklahoma State, the kid's got speed. He's a down-the-field runner. That's what he does best. He's able to run down the field and get those big chunk plays. Now, why would the Giants need a guy like this? When you already got Darius Slayton? When you already got Isaiah Hodgins that can do that? You have players, Marcus Johnson can go down the field? Speed kills. Especially guys that know how to run routes. Do I think that James Washington is going to come in here and he's all of a sudden going to become a terrific player, become like the number one receiver on this team? No. No, I don't. Washington's got a hell of a job. Like, he's got a pretty damn good resume, especially in college. You have to think about this. James Washington was a second-round pick back in 2018 out of Oklahoma State, number 60 overall. In fact, he earned second-team All Big Ten back in his sophomore year in 2017, where he caught 15 passes for 1,087 yards and 10 touchdowns. He also registered 71 receptions for 1,380 yards and 10 touchdowns in his junior year. And then he finished off his career with 74 receptions for 1,549 yards and 13 touchdowns in his senior, where he was named first team All Big Ten both those years. Washington, as a player in college, he ascended pretty much from his sophomore year to his junior year to his senior year. In fact, Washington even earned All-American honors for his performance in his senior year. He also won the Biletnikoff Award back in 2018 as a senior. Washington is a field stretcher. Washington is a guy that while he hasn't been, a featured receiver, he has shown ability to be a difference maker when given the opportunities when he's healthy. And it's not like he hasn't gotten it done somewhat in the NFL. His best year was in 2019 with the Pittsburgh Steelers during his second year, where he recorded 44 receptions on 80 targets for 735 yards and 3 touchdowns in 15 games, where he started 10 of them. And he was one of the big receivers on that team back in the time, where they had him, they had Juju Smith-Schuster, and I believe they had Antonio Brown. He also went on to catch 5 touchdowns in the following season in 16 games in 2020. It wasn't until 2021 where James Washington's role with the Pittsburgh Steelers really started to decrease. He became a free agent, and that's when he signed with the Dallas Cowboys, hoping to be that deep threat for that team, until unfortunately he got hurt during training camp with the Liz Frank injury, and he didn't come back until a couple of weeks ago. Now, just to talk about Solomon Kindley, the Giants offensive lineman that they picked up. He, I believe, is a former Georgia Bulldog who played with Andrew Thomas back all the way in 2019, 2020. He was actually picked by Miami. My apologies. He wasn't picked by Georgia. But Solomon Kindley was originally signed to the New York Giants practice squad back on October 5th. I do remember that. But the 6'4", 339-pound offensive lineman was waived a couple of weeks later. But the Giants obviously like what they see in him, and they brought him back. So you have Wyatt Davis and you have Solomon Kindley, a couple of offensive linemen, along with, if they come back healthy, Joshua Ezeudu and Marcus McKeithen, that could be developed on this offensive line going forward. He is a former fourth-round pick, number 111 overall by Miami in 2020. And he also went on to play 29 games overall and 15 starts across those 2 seasons with the Dolphins. So he does have experience starting in the NFL. But he's mostly been a guy that they brought in for depth on that offensive line, which I have no problem with. But either way, the New York Giants have officially signed James Washington to their practice squad, and they've assigned Solomon Kindley to the reserve future contract. So Solomon Kindley will be part of this team going into the offseason for an opportunity to potentially win a roster spot with the team in 2023. James Washington is a guy that could potentially contribute. He's on the practice squad right now, but the Giants signed him as a guy they want to hang on to that could be a player. Maybe they want to decide to bring him up for this playoff run, or they keep him around for next year. But I just want to break this news for the New York Giants. Here's a Giants roster update. Giants have officially signed James Washington to a practice squad deal. Shout out to my guy NYG22. He broke the news last night during the Heart of the City podcast. And the Giants have signed Solomon Kindley to a reserve futures contract. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT85 for more breaking news, updates, chatter, and roster updates surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications the next video or short they'll be dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the New York Giants signing James Washington to a practice squad contract, if you think he might contribute in the playoffs, and the future, what it's going to be for the future, if he's going to be a guy that could potentially be a long-term piece on this New York Giants team going forward. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Hump Day Wednesday morning. Take it easy, and let's go, New York Football Giants. As always, together blue, everyone.